part two of how I fell in love with The Lion King. So, in part one, I explained how he was bringing me lunch every Wednesday because he was off. And let me just read one of the messages. Like, it's really short, but I found the screenshot from like when he first initially started bringing me lunches. Like, he was just so fucking sweet. Like, he asked me, oh, can I bring you lunch tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, so on Tuesday night, I'm gonna assume, I think this was like on Monday, but he texted me and was like, so on Tuesday night, I need all your orders in my phone, LOL. And then he like spaced down in the same message and it was like, I just cherish the ground that you walk on. So where I left off was when I got back to my phone from work, while I was at work and I didn't have my phone, whatever, I had messages from his baby mama. So the first message literally says, hello, do you conversate with this guy? And then it's like she's replying to my story, and she did it 3 times, like to 3 different stories. Hello, do you conversate with this guy? Hello, do you conversate with this guy? Then she sends a picture. Then she's like, hello, do you conversate with him? Hi, do you conversate with him? And she just keeps sending that, keep sending that, keep sending that, keep sending. Then she says, I'm just asking, I'm the mother of one of his children, and I was told something different from him. That's why I asked. So mind you, I don't have my phone. So she's just writing me, sending me all these screenshots of like text messages between them two. And then after she sends me like 10, 15 screenshots, she says, I don't want him. He's off my hands now. But that's the lie that he's going to hit you with. Maybe you can help. She says his name, the 32-year-old manipulator. Do right by his kids and get off child support. 32. This man told me he was 28. So I found the screenshot of when he told me how old he was. He said, I'm 28. I'll be 29 on blank. He says his birthday. Then he says, when's your birthday? No, I don't have any kids. I was engaged. My ex had a son though, so it was an amazing experience dating someone with a kid. Excuse me? Who the fuck lies about their motherfucking age? So, mind you, I'm at work. It's Wednesday, the day that he brings me lunch. So, we're talking and like we're texting back and forth because literally, like I said, we text and we talk all day. So, we're texting. He's saying that he's going to go pick up my food, telling me what time he's going to be there, blah, blah, blah. I'm playing it cool because I'm like, I have to ask this man in his face because what in the fuck? I cannot put this in a text message because one, I know, man, I put that in text message. First of all, I'm not getting no lunch and I was hungry. So I'm like, let me just not even say nothing because I want my food. And then I can ask him in person. And if he lies to my face, he's a psycho. So he comes, I get in the car, I get my food, and then we're like chopping it up and like I'm playing it cool. He's telling me about like what he did earlier in the day. Like he went to the mall, he did all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, what's wrong? Because he asked me something that he texted me, and I was just kind of like, oh, I don't even know. He's like, did you read my messages? And I'm like, yeah, I just got a lot going on today. Today's like a crazy day. And he's like, oh, like, what's up? He's like, your face is turning red. Like, what's wrong? Because I'm hot. I'm about to blow, nigga. And so I'm like, I got a question. Do you know somebody named blank? And I say his baby mama name. And he's like, no. And I'm like, so you don't know anybody named blank? And he's like, no. And he's like, well, I know a lot of girls, but no, like, what's up with her? I'm like, so you don't have a baby mama named blank? And he's like, no, but I have an ex named blank. So at the time, I didn't know that I was confusing. Like, when I asked him, I was confusing like his baby mama's name and his daughter's names like up because they're very close. So when he said that he didn't know or he didn't have a baby mama name, whatever the first name was that I said, I asked him about his daughter's name. I'm like, well, do you have a baby mama name this? And he's like, no. And I'm like, so why did somebody write me today saying that she's your baby mama and you guys have a child together? And he said, you're gonna have to ask her. So then I ask him again, do you have kids? And he's like, no. And I'm like, are you sure? And he says, positive. And I'm like, I'm stunned. And then he even doubles down, y'all. He's like, you have 2 kids. So if you told me that you have 2 kids, then why wouldn't I just be comfortable telling you about my kids? Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm with you when you write, my boy, because I'm trying to figure out why you didn't tell me you have kids if I have kids. Like, what? So then I'm like, so why did this girl write me saying this if none of this is true? And he's like, first he says, I don't know. But then he kind of like gets to stumbling over his words. And he's like, well, you know why she wrote you? Because she's my ex and she's mad that I don't want to be with her. She literally writes every single girl that I end up talking to. She stalks my Instagram. And then every time I get a new girl follower, she writes the girl follower and she does this every single time. Like this, she's been doing this since my ex-fiance. I even asked him, like, well, who is this baby? Like, this little girl that she's trying to say is yours. Like, whose child? Like, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, you're just going to have to ask her. You're going to have to ask her about the child. And I'm like, Well, god damn it, I'm gonna ask about the fucking child. So at this point, I'm still like, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around everything he's saying. Like, and I'm like, why am I asking her? Like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm asking her, but right now I'm asking you. So like, I'm like, well, why am I asking her? Like, well, I'm trying to ask you, like, you, what's up? You know what I'm saying? He's like, this girl literally just wrote another girl that I used to talk to, that I just stopped recently talking to, and said the same thing to her. Like, I don't know why she's doing this. Well, I mean, I think she's just doing this because she's mad because I don't want to talk to her. So then he tries to say like, oh, and like, well, I know she's recently mad because like once I started talking to you and fucking with you, like I cut everybody off because I'm feeling you. So, you know, I didn't want to talk to nobody else. So now she's just mad and she's just DMing every single girl that I just recently followed or like that is a recent follower of mine. And she's just like making up all these lies and telling them. Now, mind you, this man's Instagram is private. So you are allowing her to follow you to stalk your followers because you can't see somebody's Instagram followers unless you're following, like unless you allow them to follow you if your page is private. So you know that she's doing this, but you're letting her follow you. That's okay. Like that was a little crazy for me. But at the time, I didn't give a fuck. Like, I didn't give a fuck about none of that. I'm just trying to figure out, why are you telling me you don't have no kids? And this lady is sitting here hounding me about you being her baby daddy. So I haven't even gotten to the point of him lying about his age. Like, I haven't even got to the point to be like, okay, so also, why are you 32? But I'm still stuck on this. Like, why would you lie about having kids? Like, this is crazy. So he basically shuts it down saying like, you know, if you want to know anything else, like if you have any other questions about this baby or anything, like you gonna have to talk to her. Like that's not my child. I already told you that. I ain't gonna nothing else to say. Like that's just what it is. Now, mind you, up until this point, this man has been super sweet, super gentle, like very open, you know, can have a conversation. But when I tell you this conversation, that man shut me down. He was basically like, yeah, I'm not saying nothing else about this. So like, what else do you have? Like his whole demeanor changed. He was not this like soft, gentle, like nice person that I know. This man had an attitude. He was very like stern. He was very just like, yeah, bitch, we're not talking about this no more. Like he didn't say that, but like his demeanor came off like very like mean and like an attitude. So I'm on top of being like, damn, is this nigga lying? I don't know what the fuck going on. And then on top of this, now you're acting guilty as fuck. So we're in the car, and then like basically after he's kind of like, well, what else do you have? I'm like, I don't have anything else, because at this point I'm like not scared that he's gonna do something to me, but I'm scared because you just lied to my face. Like you're a liar. Like I'm literally seeing you go from like black to white. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like night and day. Like your whole shit just switched up on me. Like I literally watched the nigga switch up on me right in front of my face, and it was terrifying. So I just grabbed my food and I'm like, well, you know, thanks for the food. Yeah, and I just get out the car. Now, let me say this. From the moment that girl said I'm his baby mama, she was sending me pictures of him with her and the baby, him and the baby. I want to say she even sent me like a side by side of the baby and him. So like I knew for a Fendi fact that this was his daughter, because this little girl looked just like him. So, you know, I get my lunch, I go to my car, I'm sitting in my car, I'm eating my lunch, and then he sends me like this long ass message, and he's basically saying like, pick a side. Like either you're gonna believe what this bitch is saying and you're gonna, you know, go investigating with her, or you're gonna still keep fucking with me. But you gotta pick a side. Like literally the end of his message says, I'll let the clowns enjoy the circus and simply remove myself, because like I told her, I'm at too much peace right now for the bullshit, so pick a side. So I call him because I'm like, pick a side? Nigga, do you have kids or what? Like, what do you mean? You can't just be like, I said I don't have kids, so believe me and fucking what the fuck? So I call him, and then he texts me immediately back and says, on the phone with my mama. So I'm like, okay, well, just call me back when you get on the phone. And he's like, respond to my text. I don't want to talk because I may say something I don't mean. Again, this man was very open, could talk and all that, blah, blah, blah. Now he don't want to fucking talk. So I'm like, well, you know, we can just talk later in person, because I just don't feel like this is the conversation that we should have in text messages. So I also responded to him. It was kind of like, you know, I don't really like your response, or like the way you're trying to go about this on the like pick the whole side thing, because I feel like, one, you can't just say no and then think, oh, okay, yeah, my man's not lying. No. Like you have some explaining to do. So I'm like, you know, let's just talk later, like in person, and you know, we can get to the bottom of this. And I feel like, you know, you got a couple of hours to like get off work so that you can figure out how you're going to kick it to me and tell me the truth.